Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this Wyatt Sicks video. This is an unplanned Wyatt Sicks video because we've had this drop 32 minutes ago, and a big thank you to everyone that tagged me in this post. I got so many people tagging me in this and it really is appreciated. I was too busy crying about England losing in the finals, but I thought I would jump on and do this quick video anyway. So Yolt's Alexa, thank you my friends, said ready for Wyatt Night Raw tomorrow. Of course, we will be live tomorrow for our live stream, but we've got this, and obviously it seems to be teasing something to do with Rowan. That definitely feels like the sheep's mask. This kind of feels like his hands to me. And maybe this could be his beards. So I'm seeing like a hand, the sheep's mask in the hands of Rowan, with maybe just the bottom part of a beard here. So I'm kind of seeing him holding it like that. Now, we already know, because of a previous Wyatt Sicks tweet, that Rowan is going to be the person that gets interviewed tomorrow in the next interview, right? Obviously, people are going, what the hell does this mean, right? Good question. And again, a big thank you to people that have tagged me in this. So Geezer, shout out to you. So here, look, we can see that Kappa has worked this out, put the numbers into this decoder, and it comes out, hope is the last thing ever lost. And I am very much feeling that way right now after England just lost the Euro final. Hope was all I had left as well, and that has now gone as well. So this is very true. This is very true. This is ringing very true to me right now. Hope is the last thing ever lost. So, of course, we're expecting Rowan tomorrow, and we're expecting this to be mentioned at some point in his interview. And what an interview that is going to be, because the original Wyatt family was Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Erick Rowan. Erick Rowan is the only person still with us from that original trio, so it's going to be very emotional. They've all been emotional, but Rowan is not someone that we hear from, and he's someone that can kind of get a bit choked up whenever you've heard him talk before. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and honestly, it's going to hit you in the feels, this one. I've no doubt about that. It's going to hit you in the feels. There was another decode in here. So Chappie5432, thank you. Coco Pella has put this in a different decoder, which apparently works out as the quick brown fox jumps over 13 lazy dogs, right? Which I don't think it's that. I will be surprised if tomorrow during the interview they somehow manage to say the quick brown fox jumps over 13 lazy dogs. That will be a surprise. I've got to say that this one feels like it fits a lot better. There has also been people asking the question, who's going to do the interview? Because obviously we've been seeing Bo, or Taylor, talking to Uncle Howdy. So are we going to be seeing the Rabbit talking to Erick Rowan, or is it going to be Uncle Howdy talking to Erick Rowan? I don't know. Or is it going to be Bo or Taylor talking to Erick Rowan? Or maybe no one is asking the questions and it's literally just Rowan talking. And we was talking as well about where is he, because you might remember we looked at the picture that was posted a couple of days ago that showed Rowan kind of sat somewhere. We couldn't work out where that was. We still don't know where that is, but that is a very valid question as to where this interview is going to take place, because it may not be taking place inside the Fun House like Bo's interviews. So where's it going to be? Who's asking the questions? What's exactly being asked or said? Although this definitely feels like it's going to feature. It does mean that Raw is going to be absolutely unmissable. And it also suggests that we're going to do the rest of the puppets. I can't imagine that we're only going to do Rowan and just leave it there. I think this probably means we will sit down with Dexter. We will sit down with Joe Gacy. We will sit down with Nikki Cross. I don't know if it means we have to deliver the tape again as well. Does that mean on Raw, Nikki is going to deliver the tape? Or is it because Bo had that conversation with Adam Pearce, maybe we don't have to do that anymore? Perhaps WWE will be willing to just play the tapes now. Like, they can be delivered in advance. Maybe we don't have to disrupt the show anymore. Because I think that what happened last week is I think that Bo and Adam Pearce had a conversation where Bo said, look, we're here because I think these people deserve a chance, and we're here because I want to carry on the work of my brother. And, you know, you either help me with that or we've shown you what we can do. And I think Adam Pearce will probably say, well, you can have your match against Alpha Academy at SummerSlam, and you can have future matches, and I will help you, but please stop killing everyone in Gorilla. Please stop disrupting my show, right? I would imagine those kind of conversations have been had. So maybe that means that there's a bit more of a working relationship now between the Wyatt Sicks and WWE, and maybe that means that Nikki doesn't have to deliver the tapes anymore. Don't know. Lots to chew over there, lots for us to be thinking about as we head towards Raw. And then there was one other thing. This actually dropped the other day, and it's very, very interesting. If we actually go full screen and bring this up. So this is an article by No DQ, and you can see here that this has come out of Kyle Scarborough's interview again. So Kyle Scarborough did an interview with Soundsphere magazine, and you might remember there was quite a controversial kind of take or headline or bit of information that came out about how Bray didn't want the puppets being brought to life, right? Well, here we've got a little bit more, right? Bray Wyatt was allegedly not happy with a Firefly Fun House segment that involved Seth Rollins. Now, this is going to take a lot of reading, right? So you're going to have to bear with me. But if you care about Bray, and you care about this story, and you care about the Wyatt Sicks, you're going to find this interesting, right? So, while being interviewed by Soundsphere magazine, artist Kyle Scarborough talked about his collaborations with Bray Wyatt. Scarborough reflected on Rotunda not being happy about a Raw segment where Seth burned the Firefly Fun House. So, the way I always understood it, by the way he, Bray, spoke of it, was that the initial Fiend stuff and the Funhouse and all of that, I don't know if anyone's kind of revising history a bit, but to hear him say it to me was, and this was in the early days, AEW had just started, and I remember he had kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment. He goes, you know, they're not really in the position to say no to ideas right now. That's really interesting. So back in 2019, Bray is thinking, I can probably get away with doing some stuff that I normally can't do because AEW has got WWE worried. They're worried that AEW is going to be coming out with all this amazing content. They're going to be putting on these great segments. They're going to be putting on these great matches. They're going to try and get the wrestlers from WWE. So Bray was thinking, WWE can't really say no to me right now, because if they upset me and I threaten to go to AEW, then that's not a situation they want to be in, right? And it is very true. A lot of wrestlers got big contracts in 2019, 2020, because there was a lot of panic about AEW. So AEW had just started, and he said they're not really in a position to say no to ideas right now. At that time, talent was either leaving or talent was leveraging whatnot and what have you. This is how business goes, which I think is beneficial to the wrestling business, to have those options, because it forces people to be creative and utilize talent. So he felt he had the opportunity to get his idea heard, if only because what else are they going to do? And he almost seemed to, and I really feel like the early days of the Funhouse stuff and the build-up was really him doing it. I don't think, and someone else can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't get the sense by the way he spoke of it that it was a company-backed thing. So it seems like Bray really drove the Funhouse. Like, I really want to do this. And WWE sort of went with it. Maybe not 100% certain they wanted to do it. But because AEW were around, it kind of ended up happening. And they were like, okay, just do it, right? And so we ended up getting it. So, you know, this is where AEW and these other companies that provide competition, it can be a real benefit. It can be a real benefit, and this is just so interesting. There's loads in this article. Loads. Really makes me want to get this magazine, right? So it was almost like he's going to go out of his way. He's going to reach out to people, and that's where I became one of the lucky ones to say, hey, I have this idea. Let's bring it to life. And then you have these people that bring it to life, right? They did the Funhouse. They tried it out. When it became a success and started to really pick up, then the battles became the writers. We spent a lot of those conversations where he would vent about the frustrations of that process, being handcuffed a bit and being told, let's do. He was not a fan of when Seth Rollins showed up in the Funhouse in that one skit all those years ago. As he said, he would have to try to get back online and spin their narrative back to what he could control. He's got the idea. So it's really interesting that I think they wanted, or he wanted, the Funhouse to be in his head. So Seth maybe arriving in the Funhouse kind of goes against that, because how can it be in his head if Seth is there in person? And I would imagine the same is true of Adam Pearce delivering the contract and being Postman Pearce. Like, how can he deliver that contract if it's all going on in Bray's mind? So very, very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, this is the kind of insight that we may have got from Bray after his wrestling career had ended, and maybe he did like a podcast, but we're never going to get that. So now we're getting little bits and bobs coming out now. So, you know, you just got to hoover this up when you see it, really. So instead of bothering to understand his idea, they wanted to kind of change it up. And I think even the documentary spoke to it, or someone said that he had ideas, but it was hard. It was hard to kind of wrangle it in. Maybe that was Triple H that said it. It was hard at times to take all of his ideas and kind of get him to scale it back a little bit. And earlier, when you said, you know, run with it, when it comes to designs, well, he came to me and said, I've got one version of The Fiend, and I want it to have one hand, right? Has got to have a giant, long, crazy spike fingers, and maybe something that comes off the back of the wrists, and spikes that come out of that. Almost like Scarecrow's gauntlet and Arkham, you know? I mean, this is crazy. So he had an idea of the Fiend that seemed to have some massive spikes that kind of came out. Again, where are you going to get this detail from? Let me just read that to you again. So I've got a version of the Fiend, and I want it to have one hand has got this giant, so maybe just on one hand, has got this giant, long, crazy spike fingers, and maybe something that comes off the back of the wrist, and spikes that come out of that, like Scarecrow's gauntlet. I don't know that. And Arkham. What in God are you going to wrestle in this? How? And he said, don't worry about it. That's not for us to worry about. That's for them to worry about. How big do you want these, right? This is Kyle asking. Do you want it to be like that? You're going to have to come to the ring with massive spikes on your hands. And he goes, just go with it. Make it as big and as nasty and as gnarly. And, you know, don't try to design something for wrestling. Don't worry about trying to make it work. You just design. So he liked pushing whatever envelope he could and trying different things. And sometimes that would work out. And sometimes it backfired. But yeah, that's the wild storm of his thought process. So what an article. What an article. So courtesy of postwrestling.com. Here, I don't know if this is the video. Right? I think this might be the YouTube video. So search this out. I'm going to search this out because this seems absolutely fascinating. So it seems like Bray was not a fan. Was not a fan of Seth being in the Fun House and starting that fire. Seems like he had some real battles with creative. Seems like they were going in directions that he did not want them to take his characters in. And it seemed like he had other thoughts for the Fiend character involving like some long spiky fingers and something that kind of came out of the wrist like a gauntlet or something. I mean, wow. That's a lot in it. That's a lot. So we've got a new message from the Wyatt Sicks that kind of sets up tomorrow Raw so that we know what to expect there. We've got this fascinating interview and a whole video for us to go away and watch to do with Kyle Scarborough, who's kind of just giving us a little taste behind the scenes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I think there was some really good stuff, interesting stuff in there. This video's gone way longer than I expected. I thought we would clock in just under 10 minutes, but hey ho. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. And as we said, we are back tomorrow to do our live Raw watch along. So whatever's going to go down with the Wyatt Sicks, we will be here for it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Appreciate the support. Hope you had a great weekend. And I will see you for the start of next week with Monday Night Raw. Bye for now.